Everyday superpower where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Okay, this is actually a re-recording of the last section of this video. It's been a few days now since I initially recorded this, but when it got uploaded, a kind commenter of mine said that the audio of the video was a bit dodgy, and after listening back, yeah, I think it got corrupted. So if you want, my voice regardless is still like fully fine, and you can still look at the body language and hear what I'm saying and whatnot. If you want the complete organic fresh video where I was in complete observation mode, complete coming through the series from A to B, and so I could refer back and blah 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 blah. Click the link in the description. I'm gonna have the original video unlisted, but with that being said, I've got a fresh pair of eyes. Considering I've already observed this section of the video, I'll be able to go into a little more detail, and we'll be able to, finish this series off. So we've been watching together this video entitled "Which Guy Gets the Most Girls? Girls Rank Guys" by Riz. So if you're just joining me now, I would recommend you start at the start of the series. You're going to learn so many things regardless, so don't worry if not, but it's an entertaining journey. We get to learn so much about these different characters, and we make and break them, right? So the final ranking is here. Are you ready, people? Let's see who's getting ranked what, who's saying what, and where we go from here. So these dudes put headphones on, which is like the worst way of doing it ever. These dudes put headphones on to, shut out the girls discussing who's going to be put first. And you know what? A commenter said to me, and I thought it was completely valid. We were discussing that when the men initially walked on, they looked down to the ground, and I made a bold statement, blanketing them all, saying, look, they're all doing this like clockwork. And a kind commenter who's joined me on the journey, and I appreciate you for being here, said, more than likely they're looking at the floor for markings to know where to stand. And I thought, you know what, that is a great observation, and that's a great statement to make. Maybe that is the case, but as we can see here upon the floor, there is no markings. There's no clear clarification of where they need to stand. So I'm going to continue standing on my initial point and saying, when all these men came on, they all just stared at the floor upon walking in, disconnecting from the threat, which is the feminine counterpart across from them. Right, so they've put the headphones on. Guy in the red's trying to have a sneaky little deke over there. He's looking at the girl in the tank top. And you know what? Regarding the girl in the tank top, let's get her on. Here she is. I did a little bit of reading yesterday, and it was speaking in regards to women who show more skin and why they are deemed less attractive to men, generally speaking, or perceived as more easy, perceived as less desirable for wifey material. And that's because if you're so willing and able to put that which is sacred out there, put your body out there, everybody gets this. I'm getting this. I've not worked for it. Why should I work for it? I'm sure you've had that woman in your life where you've had to work for, and maybe it's not gone anywhere, but she's put you in position of pursuit due to the fact you wanted her, as opposed to lusted for her, These are the girls you fall in love with. The ones who give you food for thought, the ones who stimulate your imagination. And that's how you should operate as a man anyway. You should stimulate her imagination, like that woman who gives you food for thought stimulates yours. Because if she just gives it to you, I've known women who've gone into porn and whatnot, and the moment they start like putting out their bits and bobs about like their hobbies and what they're doing outside for, it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? The people are here for a reason. You've completely blown your personality and potential for being a subject of interest in the general realm the moment you just gave your pum pum out for free, right? Anyway, I digress. Let's see where they place these men in order of how they riz them up. As I said, if you've not joined me up until this point, go check out how these men spoke to these women and pay attention to my non-verbal communication breakdown assessment, right? Right. They put the headphones on. They start engaging. Black girl at the front here engaging with the presenters, which shouldn't really be the case. They shouldn't be able to do that. They should be just in engagement with each other. Girl in the tank top is covering her mouth in disbelief of what the tall girl is saying. The tall girl is making a statement that the girl at the end feels is not appropriate to the degree where she's telling her non-verbally to shut her mouth off. Either that or she is preventing words from coming out. She's got a thought in her head that she wants to speak on, but she is symbolically covering her mouth to prevent it from coming out of her mouth. All right. What do you call it? The three wise monkeys. One covers their ears, one covers their eyes, one covers their mouth. Sorry, people, I've got hair in my mouth here. Let's keep going. Girl in the leather jacket is looking at the presenter too. She's a little taller than the girls beside her, so she leans in, attracted to the conversation at hand, eyes wide open to absorb the information that is being given. So when you initially get seen by a girl, maybe she'll give you what's called an eyebrow flash, right? Or a like deer in the headlights look momentarily. It's a micro expression, the light bulb eyes. That is a degree of surprise, a degree of shock, but it allows her to absorb you in a quick instance, right? As opposed to if you saw a woman and she like squinted or closed her eyes, that is the counter opposite. That's the contrary. That's her shutting you out of her senses, okay? She doesn't want to see you versus she does want to see you, or at the very least she wants to see you know, that which is before her. Potentially you might be a threat and she acts in the same manner as she does as to whether she was like highly attracted to you. You have to understand and you know, pay attention to the context and so many different things. All right, so they're engaging. Let's keep moving. Yeah. This guy in the olive shirt, making himself bigger still, right? Arms flared, arms akimbo. He's not fooling anyone. He's looking directly over to the women. If anything, look at his eye line. He's probably paying attention to the hips and the dips over there. Guy in the white shirt is pretending to be nonchalant here, looking up into the ceiling. It couldn't be any more obvious. The guy in the grey shirt closest to the women, he is pretending to look over there in the corner in complete awkwardness, hands wringing, okay, nullifying the stress hormones that are, you know, pumping through his brain right now. His feet give him away because his feet are pointing over to the production team who was in engagement with these women a moment ago that we discussed. How do we know this? Because his foot is pointing over to the production team, meaning he is attracted to, meaning he wants to walk over to the production team, okay? So whereas his body is like elsewhere, his head is elsewhere, his feet look so completely unnatural, and that's because that's where his mind is, okay? His mind is over where his feet is pointing. Yeah, it's so abnormal you have to question why it's manifest, and let me be honest, that is definitely the reason it's manifest. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that's the case. Let's keep going. Here we go, keep it moving. What have we got here? So, lady in the tank top is talking. She is listing off some points, as we can see with her hands here. The girl in the leather jacket resolves back to her baseline behavior. This crossed arm over the chest is a baseline behavior of hers. If you were dating her, your intention is to understand this is where her general behavior is, regardless if she speaks to a man or a woman. But if you are able to break through this and have her release this stiff arm across the chest, you're definitely being allowed into a very intimate space and you're communicating incredibly well. Okay, tall girl is pensive here, posturing with the fingertip just below the mouth, top of the chin, pondering, wondering, mirroring the leather jacket girl with the crossed arm over the chest, maybe a little bit defensive in relation to what the points this lady at the end is saying. Black girl at the end, what a figure she's got, looking really good in this particular freeze frame, in my humble opinion. My sort of physique there. Sorry to sexualize things, people. Come on, it is what it is. She is gazing over, attracted to what's being said, borderline being put in a trance. As you can see, her mouth wide open. She's easy in the face. She's cool, calm, casual. It goes to show that she's comfortable not only in who she is at that moment, but she's comfortable where she is and who she's watching engage in conversation, right? She's not tight in the face whatsoever. You want to bring this out of the women you are engaging with. Women, if by any chance there's any women watching, this is the face you want to bring out of the man. Nice, calm, cool, easy, relaxed face. Okay, you know, if you ever listen to any hypnotic audios, I've got a few on this channel because I'm well versed in the realm of hypnotic speech patterns and whatnot, and I believe it's very supportive, for lack of better terms, for any lifestyle. You will find that during the trance process, a component that is vital is the easing and the relaxation of the body, and it starts from the top down. So you release the muscles of the face, you release the stress in your brow, in your cheeks, in your mouth, and so forth. And I like falling asleep. It puts you into this comfortable state. We see that reflect in her face there, with the mouth ajar, open, cool, calm, comfortable. She's attracted to the conversation. She's attracted to the engagement because that's reflected in her body. She's not pushed away. She's pulled in, right? And you know what? I'm going to make just a random judgment here. And I'm going to say, girl in the leather jacket, due to this positioning, this might be dialed in through smoking. I reckon she smokes cigarettes. Look at the communication with the touching of the fingertips here. This is a pacifying behavior. This is a self-touch behavior, and it is reminiscent of how a smoker would smoke outside, maybe in the colder weather, if you know where I'm coming from. So this might take her back to that pacifying state of mind, right? Because the cigarette does serve as a pacifier. Why do people smoke? They smoke to cool their nerves, to calm themselves down, right? And the smoking is something we'll go in, you know, on another video, but it serves in so many different ways, like the touching of the nerve endings upon the lips, and you know, the whole oral fixated phallic side of things. And then we can go into the actual expulsion of the smoke and what direction and what speed it's being put out at. We'll talk about that in another video. These lot are having a little game of rock, paper, scissors. I don't know if that's just for fun or if that's like actually part of the process. Right, they've made the decision. One thumb up here. Which is fascinating because most people associate, or at least on the baseline, a good way to showcase the power of the thumb and why it's the most powerful finger on the hand and what the thumbs up represents. A lot of people take it back to ancient Rome in the Colosseum, where a matter of life or death would be whether the end result the gladiator got was a thumb up or thumb down. That wasn't actually the nonverbal cue that was used in the Colosseum, but the media has portrayed it as such. I think just to sort of simplify, you know, the nonverbal cue that was used. But, you know, it's an easy way to remember why a thumbs up was powerful and why a thumbs down isn't, you know, and approach it as a matter of life or death. You don't want to get thumbed down, do you? So these lot have agreed. Right. Putting the tall girl on the firing line. Monica, she's heading up. She says, so... right, which is a precursor. That so is used to pad out the harsh reality of what's been said. Let's have a look at what's going on with the men here. Tall guy, we haven't seen this manifest in his body language too much up until this point, or at least you correct me, because like I said, this is a re-record, so I can't remember, you know, the full ins and outs of the video, because it was a few days back now. But this guy here on the end, the white guy, he's crossing his arms, covering himself, defending his genital area to an extent, mostly his stomach area, but his genitals nonetheless. I didn't see that manifest through his body language, you know, up until this point in this particular video. So I don't know if this is, you know, quite a bold statement that's been produced by his body. The two black fellas are very close, borderline touching each other. I'm sure with a little sway there, there'd be an actual physical connection. And that's a showcase of how close they are together. If you look at them, they look like they could be brothers, right? They are in complete mirror image of each other. The rotation of the head, the smile upon the face, although the guy in red looks like he's possessing a little more of an organic smile, it looks a little bit fearful on the other guy with the shorter hair, right? We see exposure of both sets of teeth, almost like a grimace as opposed to a smile, but he's putting it on there. Guy in the white shirt's having no jokes whatsoever. Broadish stance, taking up space, quite territorial. Like the guy at the end, he is covering the genital area up in fear. Guy in the olive shirt, as we realized, you know, so far into the video, half of the facial gestures he sort of puts out there is nonsense. It's bullshit. Like, I think this guy would be all right to get along with, but I think he's most definitely a people pleaser, and he'll put a face on and, you know, he and ha in order to garner, you know, acceptance. And the guy here at the end, pacifying with his fingers, rubbing his fingers together. I think he knows his head's on the chopping block here. He ain't got a smile on his face. And girl in the pink dress, have a look at that behind her. Isn't that something? Yeah, we've got tank top girl who has got her hands in her pockets, so she is leaving this situation right now. She has run away from this situation. How can you have your stomach on show, your arms on show, your cleavage on show, all of these bits and bobs and sensitive body parts on show, yet hide your hands away? All right, this is very telling. She's non-verbally running away by putting her hands in her pockets. She's a little bit anxious of what's about to happen.
You guys, great.
Lee, she says as she rubs the back of her ear, right? This could mean numerous things. First and foremost, she is pacifying herself. She is soothing herself because it is self-touch. So she's stimulating the nerve endings at the side of the neck. Aside from that, it's near the ear. So this manifests as soon as she said Lee. As soon as she said Lee, her hand raised towards her ear, okay? So what she might really want to do, or what the child inside of her wants to do, is take the finger and just plug up that ear there, you know, to say, I don't want to hear his name. I don't want to hear what I'm about to say. Watch. Lee and the body language will happen at the exact same time. Watch.
Great.
And she stutters in her voice, right? Because Lee is a serial killer. Look at the look on her face as well. Tank top girl's looking over. She is experiencing the stress, the tall girl is. She breaks down laughing. She releases that energy as she mentions the name. Thank God that's over. I didn't know how awkward this was going to be. She looks over to Lee. Everyone's laughing. at his expense. Black fella with the red shirt looks over. His eyes are wide open. His mouth is agape. He is laughing. Guy next to him is still sort of possessing this awkward grimace smile. He is fearful of these results here, alright? So let's see how he does, eh? Guy in the olive next to Lee, of course, he's faking it as he always does. Because at first glance you would think, oh, he's expressing in joy, in happiness. But then when you actually look at his face, you can see the reality of the contortion that is. It looks like he's fearful as well, right? It looks like he could be screaming at a ghost, right? Whereas he's trying to put on a face that he's laughing and hee and hollering. Lee's eyes are wide open. He's in complete disbelief. The narcissist has been shut down. He's never had a girlfriend. He's told him he's an internet troll. And he's completely shocked that he's got the least riz. He forced himself up at the front of the queue in his self-centered, egocentric, insecure, shell of a man way at the start. It was only a matter of time.
Babe, I'm sorry. Like, the whole troll thing, like, got us a little...
He pouts because we've seen his inner child come out when he got rejected by the men at the start. Now he's being rejected by the women. He pouts like a little child. Lips are pursed. No smile on his face. He's going to break down crying. She starts explaining to him the whole troll thing.
Babe, I'm sorry. Like, the whole troll thing, like, got us a little, like, questioning, like, how
Got you questioning, who is this guy? How dark is this guy? How weird is this guy?
much of a troll?
How much of a troll, she says, right? Because these are women who have lived lives and have spent time on the internet, and more than likely, they've had random weirdos leave hurtful comments on their material, right? They've experienced what they consider a troll. They've never had a good running with a troll. And if you've just joined me now, people, what you've missed is that one of his red flags he self-proclaimed is that he was a troll, right? Not a wind-up, not a bit of a nuisance, not a cheeky guy, but the word he used was troll, which has got no positive correlation whatsoever. It's like going up there and saying, my red flag is I'm a bigot. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, how am I supposed to perceive that? So he covers his face up to block out what he's experiencing right now, okay? Guy at the back in the pink shirt, mouth couldn't be any closer, tight-lipped, withholding emotion, withholding what he wants to say, withholding whatever you want to apply to this situation.
Great. Shake it off.
All right,
Shake it
whatever.
off. So, 6?
Oh, Jaden.
And quite funnily is that he approaches her like the child, and you will see Monica, the tall girl, representing the mother figure here. She manifests the mother talking to the child. Watch.
Whatever.
So, 6?
Oh, Jaden.
Oh, my bad.
didn't want to get
Sorry.
Shake it off.
All right.
Look, she boldly tells him to shrug it off, I think, or something along the lines of that. Hand on the shoulder, consoling him. A direct command to him as he looks down to the floor as the hurt child. So either she is representing, to put a long story short, she's representing the authoritarian figure here, okay?
All right,
Shake it off.
whatever.
She's speaking to that child, that's manifest.
So, 6?
Oh,
Number 6,
Jaden.
Jaden.
I mean,
I just didn't want to get
don't
last.
know. the chicken noodle song. I
dissociated the whole time you're
So this is fascinating. You need to watch this to understand where I'm coming from, if you haven't seen up until this point. She says, I dissociated, and I spoke to you on this video when them two engaged. He put her in a trance, unknowingly, through utilizing hypnotic commands and taking her on a journey through her imagination, to the degree where she says, I dissociated. It's absolute fascinating if you're into psychology and communication and how people can do these things. There's a famous hypnotist but he's an entertainer first and foremost, but he's called Darren Brown, right? And he had a story when he was walking home one night, a drunk guy started a fight with him, and what he responded to that drunk guy was, how high is your... It's something along like, I paraphrase, he turns to the drunk guy who's kicking off at him, getting emotional and angry, and Darren Brown turns to him and says, how high is the fence in your garden? And the guy says, what? And Darren says, how high is the fence in your garden? And the guy then released all his emotion in this big weeping mess in response to that, because what he had done was completely broken the pattern with this confusion, with this abnormal response that the guy didn't know how to take it, and it shorted his flipping computing system. Isn't it amazing? Let's keep going.
You're speaking to me.
I was so confused.
I think you were.
So Jaden was fascinating, I thought. I mean, he was applying incredibly deep game unknowingly, but didn't communicate any sort of message. Just went on a ramble and a rave. Completely held her attention. Engaged with her on an incredible emotional basis. She was so happy and joyful the whole time. So was the girl in the tank top. But he didn't go anywhere with it. I think his communication was incredibly fascinating, you know?
You're nervous, and you were a lot sweeter in your answers afterwards.
But not the chicken noodle part.
So he says thank you, and as he does it, he says it coy and disconnects, right? Just to say, stop talking to me, move on.
You were a lot sweeter in...
So once again, she is now playing the parental role for Jaden, right? Jaden is now the child being taught by the teacher. Look.
Your answers afterwards.
Thank you, he says, disconnects, stares off, eyes glazed. You can see sadness here. Serial killer beside him is looking over to the women, one hand in his pocket. He's probably got a gun in there. He's going to shoot the place up. What more needs to be said? He looks like he's going to cry as well. You can see sadness in both of their eyes. Nobody wants to be judged last, because you have to consider, right, the whole fact of the matter is this isn't quite simply being ranked by Riz. What it is saying you're bottom of the procreation station. You're not going to have kids. You're going to die out. Your entire ancestry, your entire bloodline ends here. We as women, we as the feminine, don't want to procreate with you. We don't find you attractive. And here you are being put on television as such. It's a universal, subconscious, collective fear within the man, right? Such as the woman.
The chicken noodle part.
Yeah, where did you get
chicken
that?
noodle soup when you're sick. Like, I'm giving you chicken, you drink that.
He says that with an undercurrent of anger. She turns around, acknowledging the anger, acts defensive, raises the elbows, right? As we've learnt, the elbows we attack with, right? We can kill someone with our elbows. Fists manifest.
Like, I make you feel better, like, damn.
Okay.
Cracking the voice there. Feel better, damn. Sadness. Listen to the tonality of the voice. Listen.
Like, I make you feel better, like,
Feel better. You hear that crack there, yeah?
damn.
Okay, so next...
And hearing the sadness, the guy who's 7 felt a bit better about that. At least I'm not alone, alright? At least I'm not in the out crowd no more. So in its own way, you know, the guy's finally managed to join a group because he got rejected by the men, got rejected by the women, but now he can hold solidarity by being last with this other guy in this emotional state, right?
Was Logan. Yes.
Logan.
We didn't like your first impression.
We just thought...
Logan, first impression. There's so many discussions about how long a first impression is. Some people say it's within the first second. Some people say 4 minutes. Some people say this, that, and the third. Bottom line is, everybody agrees that first impression is very hard to change.
I thought you were playing...
If you set the tone on a particular frequency, you know, you have to then go against the grain and go against the friction and resistance to turn that over. And nobody wants you know, to convince or persuade someone that there's somebody, you know, who the other person thinks. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Let's keep going.
Mr. like mean, like cool guy, and also like
It's too forced.
it kind of came off like maybe you aren't used to having to do the Riz. You know, like maybe you are used to getting Riz. So
No, I
Softened it down a little bit. softened it down, says maybe it's used to you being chased as opposed to the vice versa, because they can see that. And if that woman can see that women find this man attractive, you know, I don't think she was lying about that.
I don't approach people at the bar, actually.
Really?
I sit in the corner.
It's okay, I do too.
I don't approach people no more, actually. I sit in the corner. Bro, you've been given your ranking. Don't try and explain yourself. Don't try fight your way out of this carrier bag. It's pointless. Just accept it. Say, okay, right? Don't try and persuade these girls to say anything different at this point. It's been set in stone.
I could tell. If you would have started with the second half, I would have been like, I liked you towards the end.
Yeah.
I did.
I liked you towards the end, she says. Get back.
Fourth
Fourth.
was red shirt.
I'm ready.
I respect the singing, but if a guy were to come up to me and start singing, probably not.
That's probably like a second or third date thing.
That's like a.
Have you seen how Leather Jacket speaks like she is the host? She's the alpha female of the group. And generally speaking, alpha female, we talk on... I mean, in a pop context is what I'm referencing. She's like the dominant female of the group. Generally, alpha female tends to be reserved for the most feminine of the group, so maybe not the most outspoken, but she's definitely taking the masculine leadership role, per se.
Second or third date thing.
That's like a.
Because she's giving the feedback and giving the rating like she's God, basically. All right, calm down. How about I teach you something about yourself? Ho!
Yeah, yeah.
If I like you, I'm serenading you.
And that's okay.
If I like you, I'm serenading you. Girl in the red in disbelief looks over to the black girl who's cracking up. I actually think that she enjoyed the singing in her own way, purely because she was hypnotized by him as he did so. I completely agree that it's the wrong thing to do, and it's a bit corny to do. Well, it's very corny to do. I didn't think it was going to work whatsoever until I saw the way he engaged in that with such confidence and just jumped straight in. I thought that was quite admirable, personally. I don't think he did a bad job in a bad situation, you know?
It just came out, a little left field. But
Came out a little left field. So they're all judging together. This is the thing, as opposed to the girl who was actually getting rizzed up making the comment, right? She's speaking on behalf of the girl who's getting rizzed up, and I don't think that's fair, to be honest. You can't watch from a distance and just say, nah, it didn't appeal to me because you weren't the target of that communication, you know? I'd say, can I hear from the girl who I was speaking to? What did you think, darling, you know?
Yeah.
With a great idea, you just want to get things down on paper.
Get there, I want to get down on paper. Shall we assess what we're seeing here?
My name is Claudia.
My name is Claudia.
I'm a marketing manager and adjunct professor.
I'm a marketing blah-de-blah.
Grammarly takes a lot of the heavy lifting off my plate. With AI Composed, it will give me a
When she said AI composed, there was a wobble in the voice there. Frightened, yes. She doesn't... These advertisements are fascinating because they just read a script. They get paid to read a script, right? Whether they use the product or not, whether they believe in the product or not. This is... my assessment, by the way. This isn't any sort of, put down. All right. Grammarly's been doing that thing for a minute. I know.
a great outline to start
Put some respect on it.
with so that I can focus on expanding and elevating ideas.
When she went into expanding and elevating ideas, there was a clip in the audio. So that was... she took a couple of takes to do that.
Use Grammarly every time I write because I can put my trust in it.
She says, I use Grammarly every time I write. There was a slight upwards inflection in the voice, posed as a question because she was wondering if that was the right thing to say. She doesn't. Anyway, let's skip that.
all right, so third place, we have Dave.
Dave, we liked how really friendly and open you were.
Really friendly and open. That might also manifest within the body language. He's been open since day. I think he's learnt about how to, put himself out there. So I think it aligns with that.
Also, the fact that you tolerated someone for 8 years, they tolerated you.
You tolerated someone for 8 years. They tolerated you. That says you're a good catch. You must be a good man. That's a good thing. We spoke about this on the relationships thing. Not only that, he was married, so he's marriage worthy. quite funnily is that she starts with you tolerated someone, all right, maybe projecting how much of a nuisance she is, because instead of saying somebody tolerated you, I think that's attractive, she says you tolerated them, which is attractive. She put that first in the list, right? She highlighted and started with what she deemed the most important. Oh my God, you'll be able to deal with me when I'm a complete nutter, you know?
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Them tolerating me for 8 years says a lot, for sure, for sure. I like that you guys give a lot of feedback too. This is a very, very constructive dynamic. Yes.
And then
Second place.
we have Nut.
Cameron, Nut,
Yeah.
who's very upset with the fact he's not first. He was preparing to be first. Look at this. You're second, bro. You're all right.
Nut.
So let's try pause here, yeah?
Nut.
There's a clenching of the teeth. The mouth closes. There is a false expression of joy with the lifting of the hands to the sky. There's a non-congruence of behavior that's manifest here, right? There's a portrayal of what he wants to be deemed as, and there is a reality that is counterbalancing that and creating this non-congruent, awkward communication through his body, right? His arms would lift all the way to the sky and not stop as bladed elbows before his chest if he was like truly excited.
Yeah.
He shakes his head. He's not smiling whatsoever. Black guy gives him the one tap on the back as if to say, congratulations, I win. Ha ha. He starts clapping. He doesn't clap for Nut. He claps for himself. Head down, disconnecting. He moves away in repulsion from Nut. Look, he literally moves away. Doesn't want to get close to him at this point. Wants to disconnect from him. Actually might want to separate from the rest of the group and embrace the fact that he's number one.
I have to be honest, it was unanimous except for me.
Now listen to this. This is fascinating. So Nut has been shot down by Jess because Jess thinks she makes all of the rules. Do you know when we were speaking about her being the boss of the group? Listen to this.
It was unanimous except for me.
It was unanimous except for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 women chose you, but because I said no, you can't be first. Because me as number one chose the other guy, my opinion is more important than the other 4 women in the group. Pay attention to what's being said here, right? Nut should have won because he got 4 out of 5 votes of being number one. But Jess said, no, I want to shit on this guy. For some reason, we're going to make this guy number one, even though it's 1 against 4. Isn't that disgusting?
She was not for you.
I was.
She was not for you. She shakes her head. She was not for you, and she makes the rules. You know?
Oh, you were the one who didn't?
Yeah.
And you're the one that I talked to? That's hilarious.
No, but you're like lighthearted, you're like dorky, kind of cute.
Yes.
And it's also a bit of a spit on this guy. This guy's probably coming to a consideration thinking, wait a minute, they all voted for him, and I'm being put number one? Isn't that a little bit bittersweet? You know?
Women love dorky.
My
let me tell you
feedback
that.
is just pay attention to like don't talk.
My feedback, there she goes making the rules as she covers her stomach up with her high-waisted jeans, right? Covering her arms up with her jacket, right? Because she's holding a little bit more weight than she'd like to show. It's a disgusting situation, people.
At someone, like make it maybe a little more personal.
What do you think got you to the top?
Training, hard work, dedication. We did practice Riz on each other in the back, and I rizzed in the bathroom beforehand also.
And
Our Rizzler is. Yes.
Put some respect on my guy, though. He's a fresh guy. He's a handsome guy. I gotta put some respect on my guy.
You just like maintained eye contact and you actually like cared about the other person. You weren't.
Maintained eye contact. Pay attention, because guess who else maintained eye contact? Number 7. To such a heavy degree, he scared her, all right? So it's not about purely maintaining eye contact. It's about doing so in the appropriate manner, right? Pay attention when they're speaking. When you're speaking, you can disconnect a little bit. Allow them to pay attention to you, right?
just like trying to swoop in and just get to the point. You're like, let me learn more about you.
Let me learn more about you. So leave the narcissistic, egocentric realm alone and enter the empathic, I'm interested in you, getting under their skin situation sorted, right? It's a spectrum.
And that's something I feel like a lot of men lack.
A lot of men lack, a lot of humans lack, right? She's saying that because she just wants to speak about herself anyway, because she is projecting herself upon the men who lack that. Because she doesn't want to fucking know about you. She wants to express herself to you because nobody else has ever acknowledged her in her life. And I don't say about her personally. I'm saying this is the basis of human communications. Everyone is so self-indulgent that they just talk about themselves and never listen to the other person.
It's just like, I just want my one and done.
And that's why you're here on this channel. Have you seen the depth of attention we pay to others? Right? Come on.
I want to feel powerful for this 1 second, but it seems like you're a genuine person.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice, but you all did so good.
Yeah.
You all did so good, she says, as the two fellas at the end are about to throw themselves off a bridge. Look at the difference. Guy in the white looks down, glazed, holding onto his arm. Sad, sorrowful, in his inner world right now, not engaging. Whereas the guy next to him continues to stare. Thinks, I'll get my revenge. I'll get my revenge on you, you know? Doesn't even move. No clapping there at the end. Everyone starts clapping aside from the two dudes at the end. Pay attention. There's no joy. There's no happiness. If anything, this is even worse. You know what I mean? If your boys are going to watch this and you've been put at the end, it's bad enough as it is. You might as well crack up at it, right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because they're going to be watching him now. They're going to be smoking a bud, watching their mate get buried on the big screen, cracking up and saying, look.
So good.
Oh, he's not even clapping. He's not even clapping. Look, everyone's clapping aside from the end too. Isn't that crazy? White guy loosens up last moment, or white shirt guy loosens up last moment, starts clapping. Number 7 doesn't clap. All right, it's like literally watching in numeric volume an expression of joy and happiness, right? As we go down the line. So this was the men's ranking and this was the women's ranking. Let's pay attention. And look at the difference in the energy. When the boys are together, we're all smiles, we're all happy, we're all expressive, we're together like a family sitcom. When it comes to being ranked by the women and being put in order as to how valuable your sperm would be, how valuable your children would be, how you are perceived as a masculine man, things get a little more serious, don't they? Things get a little more serious, all right? So look at this. The guy put himself at the front there, but the reality of such is he was 7 on both of them, right? He egocentrically, narcissistically abused the men into awkwardly putting him first and then had to face the music at the end. Sorry, mate. Goodbye. Covers up his crotch, defending his genitals at the bottom in the face of the threat, and that threat is you are now being taken in a family group photo, which represents how valuable you are to women as a man, which is diabolical. It's diabolical. Guy in the white shirt, at least he's been bumped up for... Well, to be honest with you, the boys rated themselves the last two. The last two, the boys were right. Guy in the grey shirt was last. Guy in the white shirt was 6th. They were right. Arguably, Cameron, aka Nut, was first as well. I completely disagree with the fact he should be second, down to the fact that one girl wanted to piss on his parade, right? In this horrible witch-like manner. I think Nut should be first, such as he was on the ranking, because he showcased himself as the alpha male. If you watch the first video of the series, I told you this guy imposed himself upon the group as the alpha male, and I showed you how that manifests and how the reactions and the engagements of others proved that, and the women have seen that too and placed him in the same position.
Well, this was humbling, but just continue to be yourself. Everyone, well, this was humbling.
Also, listen, watch.
This was humbling.
Watch Lee, yeah? He's moving at the front. I mean, he's not the only one who's moving, but Lee's moving. catching attention. Movement attracts attention, right? If you move your dick, people will look at your dick. If you move your head, people will look at your head. Moving a particular body part garners attention because there's a part in our brain that pays attention to movement. That's why when a cockroach scuttles across your flipping wall, if that's the case, we don't get them in England rarely, but if that was the case, if you have that, you'll pay attention to it. You'll be like, oh shit, what's that? Because it's a survival mechanism, right? He attracts attention through the movement of his expression here. He's dead still, not trying to garner any expression in the bottom one. Do you know why? Because that is a part of the freeze, flight, and fight response.
Well, this was humbling, but just continue to be yourself. Everyone has their own opinion. I respect that, but I don't know. I'll work on it.
Lee said that he was.
I'll work on it, he says as he shrugs his shoulders. He's not going to work on it. We see redness in the eyes, glazed over eyes from the moisture that has developed over this.
Well, this was humbling.
Humbling, he says, accentuating, right?
But
maybe he wants to say this was shit.
Just continue to be yourself.
Just continue to be himself, he says, because he got basic game. That's what everybody says, right? He's never looked into fucking how to engage whatsoever in his life. He's going to continue being himself. Being himself up until this point hasn't worked. There is not a one for you. Not speaking on Lee, but I'm speaking to men who are having trouble with women. There is no one for you. If you continue getting the same result, you're going to have to switch something. You can't just go through life hoping for the best. You have to take action. You have to understand. You have to self-assess. You have to be critical of one's value in this marketplace and understand how you can engage better and how you can do better, full stop, right? Don't just say, oh, there's going to be someone for me one day. I'll just continue being myself. If being yourself is a troll, it's not going to work, right?
Everyone has their own opinion. I respect that, but I don't know. I'll work on it.
Lee said that he was a troll. There are troll girls out there that he'll find like a shorty, like, you know, and they'll like troll together.
Be yourself, be genuine, play to your strengths. Just be like Errol. He's the Riz master.
He says that, play to your strengths, be yourself. As he does so, he punches his hand, right? Aggression.
There are trolls.
Because this guy wasn't really being himself, right? This guy had a nice guy mask on.
Girls out there that he'll find like a shorty, like, you know, and they'll like troll together.
Be yourself, be genuine.
He brushes it away as well. Be yourself, blah de blah. He brushes it away symbolically with his hands. Get away from me. Don't come to me, right?
Play to your strengths. Just be like Errol. He's the Riz master.
Just be like Errol, he says as he shakes his head side to side.
Oh, Errol. What a baddie.
I could not do what they just did today.
I could not do what they just did because I don't want anyone casting judgment on me. I want to hold the cards. I want to be the puppet master here.
Terrifying. Just being in front of someone and just giving it your all. Like, seriously, like all of them. It was impressive.
She shakes her head no. She says that's impressive. That was which guy gets the most girls. Right. Let's keep on moving, yeah? Hopefully you got the audio of that. If you want to see the original rundown, I'll leave the link in the description. Peace.